I'm really sorry. Your house is on fire.
Tell me why.
It's burning down. So I need you to get a bag and get some watches, but just like 3 watches, and put them in a bag and bring them to me.
Save them.
Okay.
Now that's a tough one.
Okay.
That's a truly tough one.
I have waited 10 years for this moment to meet at Watch Fred. This is Mr. Fred Mandelbaum. It's so good to meet you, sir.
Great pleasure, and actually looking forward to it, because your interviews have something that makes them stand out, a lot of positive energy.
Thank you.
Love talking to you.
There is only positive energy for Watch Fred because well before, and I'm going to speak actually very bluntly, before George Kern took over Breitling, the brand had practically not a shred of its history in its collection. In my opinion, there was only a sliver of the archive potential of the brand, and there was a very noticeable trend for large watches, for blingy watches, it was well removed from what the brand could be. Is that fair to say?
It is. Breitling, and again, I have the hugest respect for what the Schneiders did with the brand. They saved the brand.
Yes, they bought the brand.
They bought the brand, saved it, led it through troubled times, made it hugely successful. But I'm quoting George now because that actually shows what happened to the brand. The brand was highly profitable, but he described it as a shark in a swimming pool. So huge potential, but actually reduced to a very small sliver of its potential. So this is what Breitling was, and this is what we tried to change.
And what I saw on Watch Fred's Instagram was the rest of that pie chart. If we had a sliver of Breitling in the market, I would on a daily basis lose my mind over Watch Fred's account. And we started communicating in DMs from Time+Tide to Watch Fred in 2014. You may not remember, but we've had many chats over the years. It's so good to meet you. And I want to ask you a question, and you must tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Never ever
because
will I.
George Kern has told me, never ever will I. George Kern has told me his side of the story about bringing you back into the Breitling world. Can you tell your side? When did you first hear from him? What did he say? What was the mission? Tell me everything.
I mean, we've heard rumors that I actually didn't really believe in, that George Kern, who has been a well-known figure in the industry for decades, was leaving the dream job of dream jobs.
At the peak of his powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And take over Breitling. And my first reaction, I mean, that guy isn't crazy. Okay, can't be. So it was rumor time, actually, before the official announcement. And I was vacationing in Italy, in the Veneto, lying at the pool, very hot, beautiful day. And then my Instagram dings.
He got you on Instagram?
My Instagram dings, incoming message. This is George Kern. Can you please call me?
That sounds very George.
So that's how it all began.
The moment when everything changed for Breitling lovers was, I think it was Geneva Watch Days, like a couple of years ago, when George, it was the first releases in the Kern era, and we saw a glorious salmon dial Datora that broke the internet for weeks. You kind of hijacked another fair, and there was also that pistachio dial Premier chronograph. 2 models that just emphatically showed that Watch Fred was in the house.
But actually you see Watch Fred in many other models where you wouldn't believe Watch Fred to be.
Okay.
Have a look at, for example, if people ask me what's the best watch you've done, so my answer is it's the new chronomat. Although that isn't a vintage watch, you wouldn't.
So you've been involved in that?
deeply, very, very deeply, because it was one of the most important watches we did. It was a hugely important watch for Breitling for decades.
Yes.
In many ways, it's the watch that saved Breitling.
Yes.
It got old
Yeah.
and lost a lot of its luster and character, and it got bloated and fat. I mean, who am I to talk? But still, okay.
I intend to get bloated and fat at some point.
So it just didn't age as well as all of us hoped to age.
I actually had one and I didn't keep it because it was not comfortable.
So it didn't wear well, etc. So if you ask me what's the most important watch that we did relaunch, and it didn't. So it's the new chronographs, and it's. I mean, that watch was ready for production twice and got scrapped, and we started from zero because it just wasn't good enough yet.
There's something sexy about it, and the titanium, I think, has been a game changer.
And I think the titanium is absolutely
it's the one.
Breathtaking. It's just perfect.
It's surprising to hear you say this.
So is it a watch I'm wearing on a daily basis? No.
Yeah.
Is it a watch I own? Yes. Is it a watch I'm proud of? Very much so, because we brought back the rouleau that was unique and very much Breitling, but there's nothing on that watch that is a copy of the past.
Yeah.
Every element has been redone, redesigned multiple times until it had the finesse and the exuberance that the old one had. And still the modernity that we need. So this is very much what watch designing is.
I'm shocked.
Is stay as close as you can be with your core identity, but don't be boring, don't be repetitive, and try to be modern and up to date. So that's
the recipe, isn't it? And it's a hard recipe to get right.
It's a hard recipe to get right, no doubt. But I think George got a lot of it right during the last years. And again, let's never overstate what I did. It's the only thing where being an external consultant helps is you can be, and I always told George, the only thing I can promise you is I'll always be frank and open and tell you what I think.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that, which sometimes annoys him, which I can understand.
Has it been overstated? Has the resurgence of the Datora and these beautifully pitched, because they aren't just brought back, they were pitched perfectly with the tone of the pistachio, the tone of the salmon, and also again I felt like this was the modern touch was there.
Yeah, so do I. Again, you haven't seen all yet.
No.
There's a lot more to come, of course.
Can we pretend something? I'm really sorry. Your house is on fire.
Tell me why. What?
It's burning down. So I need you to get a bag and get some watches, but just like 3 watches, and put them in a bag and bring them to me.
Save them. Okay. Now that's a tough one.
Okay.
That's a truly tough one. But the first watch I'll need.
You've already got it on.
To save one of them, I've got on. So this would be one I take along. This is one of the very first waterproof rattrapants done in 1943. It's the only documented survivor of that generation. So it's a one of one. And I mean, it took other brands 80 years to get anything near that. So it's an important watch for watchmaking in general.
Well, how fortunate that one of your watches is on your wrist, but...
so I have other 3.
Okay,
so I can pick...
Oh, you've got 4, because you're including the one on your wrist.
There's always, there's that magic...
The magic bag,
the
never-ending bag.
That sometimes holds a lot of watches. This time, very few, but I'll pick some.
So to be clear, I've told Mr. Mandelbaum his house is on fire, but he already had a bag with the watches in it. I mean, it's just so fortunate.
So I could, of course. I mean, so I can choose another 3.
Yeah.
So I absolutely need to choose that. It's a Datora 799 made in 1947. And You can have a look at it and you'll understand me.
It's always the slimness of complicated vintage pieces like this that just blow the mind. This is before technology. This is, however...
Actually, the point actually is that these are so heavily handmade. Machines can't do that.
Yes.
That we have a problem industrializing anything like that today, and it's something we're working on.
So it seems a really silly question, but because it is the most visibly lovable watch and the most visibly skillful and beautiful watch, but why did you choose this to save from the burning house?
Again, a unique one-of-one survivor of the dial execution. I think that it's actually...
Is there a face on the moon?
There is a face on the moon.
That's adorable.
It's just perfect in its elegance. This is the technical side of Breitling. For me, the perfect example of it. And this is the elegance, the exuberance character of Breitling. So if we want to save the brand, these would be two watches.
And a highly complicated calendar watch, chronograph, amazing.
And the third needs to be a Premier.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So that's, this actually in some ways shows something about watchmaking that I love about it. Some things are so perfect that you can never
improve on perfection.
So that's a watch made in 1945, a Premier 777. And it's, as you say, it's just absolutely perfect, balanced. It's modern in its size. It's clear in its form language.
The legibility is insane.
The legibility is insane.
Yeah.
So, that would be another one.
Yeah.
And
I think you've got one left, even though you've broken the rules several times over.
As there's another brand that is very close to my heart. May I save one of these?
You may.
So
please
that's
tell the
actually,
people what we have
something utterly absurd.
Yeah.
Because normally Breitling are the guys with the big watches.
Yeah.
And Université Genève are the guys with the smaller watches.
Of course, the pole route is like 36, right?
So this is the watch proving that theory wrong. It's a watch called the Aviator chronograph. It was actually made to be worn over the flight jackets. It's 46 millimeter. It's. I actually hate the word rare, but let's say it's rarely seen in black.
How many have you seen?
I've seen 4 in black and none as good as this one.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and the lugs are straight. They're jutting straight out. So the lug to lug on this would be about probably 60 millimeters, I would say. But what a cool watch.
58 or so.
Is it?
It's as cool as can be.
So cool. And the even patina on the handset and the numerals, it's almost caramel.
Yeah. So that's, it needs to be saved. If the house is on fire.
This has to be saved.
As lovely as the other ones are.
Yeah. These are the survivors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these would be the watches I'd choose.
Yeah. And what explains your endless passion for Breitling?
Well, that's actually a question easy to answer.
Okay.
The easiest of all. Look, I'm a chronograph collector. Okay, this is where my passion lies. And anything relevant that ever happened in the chronograph segment, Breitling was the first mover, one of the first movers. So the question, the answer in return, who else but Breitling?
If you're into chronographs.
If you're into chronographs, if you admire the combination of the perfect tool, and I started out using chronographs as a tool. When I was young, we did optimization in productions, assembly steps, etc. We had no computers measuring that.
Yeah.
With people with chronographs optimizing assembly steps. And one of them was Fred, very young Fred, with a chronograph on his wrist.
Was it part of your occupational
So
development?
it was truly absolutely part of my daily It was a work tool for me. And then over the years, it became more than that. And watches used to be hugely important as tools for sports, for industry, for whatever. Now they're hugely important because they're a source of joy. And
yes.
That's,
and they're the only, I like to think that they're the only object that is made to be multi-generational.
absolutely.
In terms of, we are seeking a level of quality and a level of robustness and a level of longevity that is just at odds with everything else we own.
Precisely the point. Okay, as much as I'm impressed by my mobile phone, I know that it's going to be dead in 4 years from now. Okay, as much as I love my car, as much as I love my early Range Rovers, I must admit there's a huge difference in quality and drivability with the current model. But again, they're totally different beasts. As great watches, look at that. Okay, this is going to be high tech in 100 years from now. Nobody will do anything mechanical better than that.
No.
Okay, and it was born in 1943.
Yeah.
And it's there forever. Nothing will ever be as elegant.
No. Now, last question. For someone who's watched this and thought, you know what, I am on fire. Fred Mandelbaum has started a fire in me. I want to explore this world of vintage, of collectibles, of chronographs. Do you have any pearls of wisdom, things you wish you knew when you started out? Do you have anything to share with people who've watched this and felt your energy and want to join you?
Okay, there's the easy thing is there's no profit in watch collecting. Okay,
I can hear a million hearts breaking.
Okay. Again, don't collect watches to make money.
Okay.
See, there's a fringe benefit.
Yep.
If you're lucky, like driving Range Rover, like Fred driving Range Rovers.
No one's that lucky. I'm just telling you that.
It's all in theory. If you always buy at the perfectly right moment and always sell at the perfectly right moment, you may turn a profit.
Yeah.
But actually, this isn't why you should collect.
No.
You should collect because there is, and that's one of the rare things, really. Okay. There is a guaranteed return on investment with any watch you buy and you love. It's going to make you smile when you wear it.
and that has a value.
And that's a huge, if you aren't an idiot.
Yeah.
You learn that this is the major thing you can hope to achieve. To do things and own things that make you smile. No, for whatever it is. Good shoes, whatever it is, whatever makes you happy. Don't do
Has a value.
Don't do it to impress anyone else.
Yeah.
Do it to put a smile on your own face.
To finish this wonderful conversation, you're getting a voice at a brand you love, and I think this is a credit to George Kern.
It is very much so. As I said, it's truly outstanding, and I deeply respect him for that. Admire him for it, actually.
Because that is not something that is happening at all brands. And while I think there's a begrudging acknowledgement that the archive might have some value, it's more than just diving in the archive and pulling out the old pieces and then reissuing them with a modern twist. I feel like there needs to be an intermediary, like a spirit medium, someone between the brand and the archive that can breathe life and understand what must be retained. And I feel like you are a great asset to Breitling as well.
Hopefully. If that's the fact, then I've done a decent job.
Yes, you have.